So dear single mothers, um, I know we get enough of bad attention, right? We get enough of people trying to tell us how to be single mothers. We get enough of people being like, oh, but this happens and that happens because black mothers and black single mothers. And basically, everybody blames the parent that stayed instead of the parent that left, i.e., the black mom instead of the black father. And I'm pretty sure this happens. Actually, I don't know. So I'm just going to refer to black people because I don't really know if anybody else, any other culture has this problem where they blame the parent that stayed, where they grow up and actually blame the parent that stayed. And I'm talking about the children too. Grow up and be like, yeah, my mom sucked because, but don't ever talk shit about their father. Anyways, I know we get enough of shit, right? So I'm not trying to bring up this because I'm trying to give single moms more shit, right? But I just want to say this because I've noticed this a lot with single moms. I think that a lot of women, when you choose to be a single mom, most of the time we're choosing to do that because being with the man isn't the better option, right? However, sometimes I feel like single moms leave the guy because the guy's not a good guy, right? He's not a good example. He's not a good father. It's not a healthy dynamic, but then turn around and start to act exactly like the man. And what I mean is like the way that a lot of single mothers talk to their children is in fucking insane. Why would you leave a man? Let's say he like calls you out your name, like bitch, bitch, you know what I mean? But then turn around and call your children out of their names. And you don't have to call your children a bitch to call them out of their name. If you call your child stupid, that's calling them out of their name. If you're making the child feel like they can't do no right, you're calling them out of their name because you're not saying, "Hey, Billy." Why do I always say Billy? You're not saying like, "Hey, Johnny, this is how you do that." You're kind of just being more like, oh, you're a fuck up, or you're like your father. You're no better than the guy, right? Because if the man is over the woman, which is to be discussed, then the mother is over the child. I understand that it is extremely hard to find that balance within yourself when you have to do these things by yourself. So it's sometimes you're kind of more in your masculine than your feminine, but you have to look at it like that. You're in your masculine, so now you're acting like the dude that you just left. And that's how, we tend to grow up and act just like those situations because we're not. What was the point of leaving is what I'm saying. What's the point of leaving if you're just going to act that same way? They're not getting the better example. I'm not saying stay, especially if it's abusive. I'm not saying stay in the relationships. I'm saying if you're going to do something differently, do something differently. Sometimes I try to like tell, certain, friends of mine or whatever, past family members, like, hey, talk to them differently, read them stories, like, and I'm not saying I didn't have this problem, especially when I was alcoholic. Oh my God. But if I'm going to choose to do something differently, do it all differently. Sometimes y'all don't be finding that change in your life, that abundance that you need, that positivity, that high vibration you need in your life because you're treating your children like shit. Sometimes it's like, oh, I ain't got no man, so I'm going to treat my kids like shit. I can't pay the bills, so I'm going to treat my kids like shit. Your kids ain't stopping you from getting a man. You're stopping you from getting a man. Your children aren't stopping you from paying your bills. You spending too much motherfucking money is stopping you from paying your bills. Right? So just, I'm not trying to like bag on any single moms, but I just kind of want to see us do things differently. Talk to our children differently. Read them stories at night. Y'all gonna be fucking scrolling TikTok for an hour. You could read the kids a book for 15 minutes. If you read a little slow, 30 minutes. But you could do it. You know what I mean? Sit down and eat food with your children. These things aren't easy. It is changing your mind state. So take time. Give yourself grace. Maybe every day take an extra 10 minutes with your kids and then let that build. Definitely remember to always take time for yourself because you have to have a balance. But those kids have to have a balance too. If they never see anything going on with you and them, they're not going to know how to treat a man or a woman when they get older. Right? So I'm not saying everything should be put on us. Definitely shouldn't. But we still got to do our part. So let's do our part.